If you're like me, you are struggling a little bit between adulting, trying to manage your household, being an entrepreneur. And so I put together like this system or this process to help me figure out how I can manage it all without going crazy. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk about how can you manage all of your responsibilities as an adult who is running a company. Tune in. Welcome back to another episode of Work Hard, Live Soft, where I teach you how to build a business that will give you the freedom to live a life that you love. Listen, I want to talk about working hard and how hard adulting is. Now, I don't know about you, but I just think all of the aspects of being adult, making sure your bills are paid, making sure you're exercising and eating right and spending time with your family and finding balance, all of those things, it can become a lot to manage, just figuring out your own self and then on top of running a business. And I know everybody has their own level of hard. It's even harder if you are a mother or you're a wife or you're going through a divorce or you have multiple businesses. You are an investor. The more titles you have, the more complex things can get. And so I want to talk through how I manage all of my responsibilities so that I don't drive myself crazy with all of the things that I have. One thing that I've recognized is that when we mismanage our blessings, they can feel like burdens. And so I want to make sure that I'm not complaining about all of the things that I have simply because I wasn't responsible enough to learn how to manage it. Now, I am a systems person. I like to document as many things as possible so I can get ideas and just a bunch of things out of my head and on paper, on some type of spreadsheet or on some type of checklist. And I actually created this spreadsheet called the Adulting Life Spreadsheet. You might have seen me talk about it on Instagram. You can grab it at mayaelious.com/adulting. But I want to talk through why I created it, how you can create your own version, and how it's designed to help you just alleviate all of the stress and the complexities around just being a responsible adult who manages and has multiple titles. So for me, I am the CEO of two companies. My first company is Built to Impact. My second company is called Rebellious Fit. And last year, I also purchased two investment properties. And then this year, I moved into an apartment. And so my primary home is now being rented out. And when I was responsible for figuring out like the gas bill, the light bill, the internet bill, putting tenants in all of these places, I was starting to get overwhelmed. Now, on paper, it seems like a total blessing to be able to say you have multiple properties and you have your dream high rise and you run your multiple companies. All of that stuff seems great on paper, right? The result of things is always really nice on paper. But the work that is necessary to maintain these things and the work that is necessary to make sure that these things are in your life as assets and not liabilities requires you to have a system and a way to be able to manage all of it. So that way you are leveraging it as an asset and not a liability. So when I started to think about all of the things I was responsible for, a lot of these things come with expenses. So I started to think about like, what is the cost of business one? What is the cost of business two? What is the cost of all of these investment properties? What is the cost of just all of these things that I have going on? And for me, I needed to be able to categorize all of the things that I needed to be responsible for or be mindful of when it came to these different areas of my life. So I first started with just me in general. What is the cost, whether it's a financial cost or it is a time cost of simply just being me? So I listed out all of the service providers or the vendors or accounts that I had for a requirement to simply be me. So I know for me, like my laundry, that is a service that I use weekly called Happiness. So I listed that out as something that I use. When I would get meal prep, that was a service that I used. When I would go to a personal trainer, that was a service that I used. When I would get my lash appointment, my nails appointment, my hair appointment, just all of those things required to maintain being who you are, it's really important that we list out all of the maintenance work required to sustain ourselves, to sustain our companies, to sustain our investments. And so we might think that it's superficial to document all of these things, but it's so much easier to manage your assets when you know what's required to maintain them. And so I first listed out all of those things, and then I associated it with the expense. I said, okay, what's the cadence in which I'm getting these things done? So let's say for my hair, if I'm getting it done once a month and I'm typically getting braids, how much is that? If I am getting a blowout, that's a different vendor. So I list that out. When I'm getting my nails done, if I'm getting that done every 3 weeks, what's the expense of that? Because I also want to make sure that while I'm listing out all of the things that allows me to live a soft life, that I'm very clear on the cost of how much hard work I need to do to be able to afford all of these things. So I'm actually going to go through my entire spreadsheet throughout this episode to just give you some insight on how you can categorize how you want to maintain all of your responsibilities. Now, the first thing you have to think about personally in your life, what are all of the things that you are responsible for, or all of the people that you are responsible for? Now, I'm not a parent or I'm not married, but I would make the assumption that I would be managing now all of the maintenance of my child. Who is their pediatrician? Who are their teachers? Who are their friends' parents, like if they go over to their house? So all of those things. So if you are a parent, you want to take into account that you need to figure out what are all of the services or the accounts that are associated with your child maintaining their life, their health, and their overall lifestyle. If you are the operations manager of your home, you may be doing the same thing for your partner. If you are a caretaker, you're going to be notating all of these things as well. So let's go through all of these different categories, and I want you guys to let me know if this is something that helps you out. Again, I have to get this out of my brain or else I'm going to mismanage my blessings, and I don't want my blessings to feel like burdens. So my first category is home/utilities, right? We need to make sure that we are taking care of home first. And when it comes to everything that you have at home, I think about your rent or your mortgage. That's the first thing I need to be responsible of to make sure that I can actually maintain having a home. So if I don't pay that mortgage or if I don't pay that rent, then it's going to be taken away from me. So that's the first thing that I have under home/utilities. Then I think about all of the things that allow the home to run as it's running. So thinking about the internet, the light, the gas, if you've ever made a budget before, you're pretty familiar with all of these categories. But what became a little bit challenging for me when I started making this list was remembering you have multiple properties that have different categories inside of them. Some of the expenses you are not responsible for, but you are responsible for setting up the accounts and making sure that they are being maintained. So writing it all out was really helpful for me. So under home and utilities, I have rent, internet, taxes, gas, HOA, pest control, power/slash electricity, security, trash/recycling, cell phone, and water/sewer. So you might have different things for your home, but these are the things that I have in order to maintain my home. Now, one of the things that I didn't put on here was mortgage because I ended up putting that under my finances category since it's technically a loan. So we will go into that as well. So I want you to think about what are all of the things required simply to maintain your home? One of the things that also might go on here for you would be maybe a lawn service or gardening or just whatever. Anything that is required to maintain your home, you can add it under this category. The other major category that I have would be all of my finances and primarily my major loans. And so the two most common loans, well, really the three most common loans for adults are going to be their mortgage if they own a home. It's going to be their student loan if they went to a college or a university, and it's going to be their auto loan. And then, of course, you might have some other loans, personal loans, business loans, whatever it is that you want to include in here. It's really important for me to look at all of my loans because I like to be able to measure my net worth. And measuring my net worth is something that I started doing, I think in maybe 2016 or 2017. And I had no concept back then of what a net worth was until I started managing my money through an app that would show me the amount of money that I owed and the amount of money that I actually had. Now, back then, I didn't own a home, and my car that I had was maybe $10,000. And then my school loan or my student loan was very minimal. I think I maybe had like $8,000 left. And so I saw that my overall net worth was maybe like negative $5,000. And I was like, okay, my goal is to first get it to zero. And then my next goal is to get it in the positives. And so once I started actually paying attention to my liabilities, which were things that I owned or borrowed where I owed money, I wanted to make sure that I was also making enough money to actually grow my net worth. So that became a really big goal of mine. So tracking my loans and making sure that I'm being responsible for paying for them, paying on time, and just being aware of what I actually owe was something that was really, really important for me. Also, under money accounts, which I separate slightly from loans, are any credit cards that I might have. So my Amex card, my Chase card, my Discover card, any type of credit card that you might have, that's going to be another liability that you have. But I look at loans and I look at credit a little bit differently, but you still want to pay attention to all of your money accounts where you owe money. Now, I started prioritizing building wealth in 2019, even though I barely had any idea what I was doing. And so I remember starting a stash account, which I really am so grateful that I started investing in my stash account. For those of you who aren't familiar, Stash is an app where you can invest in partial stock. And so let's say the one share for Apple is $190. Now, listen, back when I was trying to build my wealth in 2019, I didn't just have $190 to go like $190 times how many ever, shares of Apple I wanted to buy. But with Stash, it allowed you to get partial stock. So if let's say I had $90 extra that week and I wanted to be able to invest, I would be able to put $90 towards that share and I would be able to get partial stock of it until I kept adding to it and I would get a full stock or 1.5 of it or whatever it is. So I started growing my investment accounts, but then even that became really overwhelming. Again, when you don't know how to properly be responsible for or properly manage your blessings, because what a blessing it is to be able to have enough money to invest in yourself. But again, when you don't manage it, it becomes a burden. I never, ever, ever want money to feel like a burden, okay? So I need to learn how to manage it. And it's something I'm still learning every single day. But documenting where I have all of these accounts, my 401k and my RIA and all of the things that have been recommended to me by my financial advisor, I needed to notate, how do I access these accounts? And what am I even supposed to do with these accounts? So in this spreadsheet, I have a note of here is the website associated with it. Here is the login and here's what this account is for, because I can't memorize all of these things in my head. As somebody who's been building her wealth within the past 5 years, I'm still not an expert in all of these things. And I don't expect myself to memorize every tiny detail of all of the accounts that I have. So inside of my money accounts, I have my investment accounts, again, so my brokerage accounts where I invest in stock, and then my 401k and my IRA, my Roth IRA and all of that, I document all of that. Then I have my cash accounts, like my regular checkings account, my regular savings account. So I list all of that because I started recognizing girl, you have probably 10 accounts, and thank God that there's money in all of these accounts, but all of these accounts are with different companies and all of these accounts have different usage, and you don't want to forget where your money is. Now, I kind of like having money in hidden places, and I'm oh, I didn't even know I had money there, but I don't want to eternally forget where my money is. So when it comes to my money accounts, it's broken down into cash accounts like your checking and your savings. Then I have my investment accounts, like my brokerage accounts where I invest, or I have my 401k, Roth IRA, and regular IRA. Then I have my credit cards, and then I have my loans. So take a quick pause. Let me know in the comments if this is helpful to you so far. And I know it can feel a little bit overwhelming, but this isn't something that I put together in one day. Like I maybe brain dumped all of this in one day, but then I logged into some accounts and then added it to the document. And then I maybe went back again and added some notes and then went back again and refined the categories. So I want this to be able to support you as you are managing your responsibilities and you are asking God to expand your territory and to bless you with more abundance, more opportunities, more money. That means that you will have more responsibilities. So I want to just set you up for success. Now, the next category I have is insurance. And it's like, yo, why do we pay so much insurance? Oh my gosh. So we have our car insurance, and we have our health insurance. Then we have homeowners insurance, or you might have renters insurance if you are renting. You have your life insurance if you do have life insurance. So you want to list out all of your insurance policies and then the associated company with it. So again, some of my I don't have all of my insurance policies with one company. So I like to make sure that I can go to this document, click insurance, and see all of the types of insurance that I have, and then see the associated company that's with it, and then also see the associated policy number and the associated point of contact. Like, who do I call if, God forbid, I get in a car accident, or who do I call if something is going on with my house? I want to be able to quickly see, this is the company that you use, here's your policy number, call these people, versus scrambling around trying to find this information. So we have all of those categories under insurance. And then service providers is a really big one, because I think we underestimate how much support that we really get, or even how much support that we actually need. Now, part of my soft life is making sure that I can delegate not only in my business, but also delegating in my personal life. So some of the things that I have on for my service providers or my vendors for my personal life is lash artist, housekeeper, esthetician, nail stylist, hairstylist for braids, hairstylist for wigs and sew-ins, hairstylist for blowouts, massage therapist, stretch therapist, chef/meal prep company, laundry service. And I don't use all of these companies all at once, but if I am using them even for one time, I want to be able to have a go-to and know, like, I use this person, I've had a good experience with them, I can leave notes about my experience with them. So one of the things that I did under the service providers category is I documented the cadence in which I work with these people. So for when I had a personal trainer, I was seeing my personal trainer almost every single day because I was working out 3 to 5 times a week. But then I would have a weekly cadence, which would be massages or my laundry service. I had a bi-weekly cadence, which would be my lash artist and my hairstylist and getting my nails done. I would have a monthly cadence, which would be my housekeeper, my car detailer, getting my dog groomed. I would have bi-weekly or biannually or annual cadence, which would be going to see my doctor, going to see my OBGYN. And then I would have a category for as needed. So again, just because you have all of these listed, you don't need to feel this pressure of like, I have to use them all the time, or I don't have enough money to pay them all the time. You just want to know that you have these service providers in your corner if you need any of these services. So some things that I have on an as needed basis would be like a wardrobe stylist, my therapist, my makeup artist, my lawyer. I'm not using them on a recurring basis, but these are the trusted people that I go to when I need their unique expertise. So those are some examples of what I have for my service providers/vendors. I don't want you to discount this one, okay? And you might have a service provider that you're not yet working with, but I want you to add them to the list. And I want you to figure out how much would it cost for me to work with them just once a month, right? If I could get a housekeeper, or if I could get somebody to detail my car, whatever it is that really matters to you, if I could get somebody to come in and do my laundry, how much would it cost me? I think too many times we just discount the level of support that we really deserve for all of the work that we do. Remember that the entire point of working hard is so that we can live soft. And when I say live soft, it means I want you to live your life doing the things that are meaningful. Does it make sense to sit around deep cleaning your house 1 to 2 Saturdays a month when you could be out at the park spending time with your kid, right? What if once a month you could prioritize a 3-hour fun day in the city with your kid during the time that you have a housekeeper come in and support you with getting your house clean? And then after a half day with your kid, you go home and you get to relax in a nice clean house. So I just want you to think about the type of lifestyle that you want to live and the type of support that you need. And then last but not least, another category that is really important to take a look at is your subscriptions and your memberships. Now, I group both of these together. Some of your subscriptions are going to be monthly recurring, like your gym, any streaming services that you have, but you also want to pay attention to like the bonus memberships that you have or the perk memberships that you have. Like I am a Delta Sky Miles member. So any like loyalty memberships that you have, I want to make sure I know my Sky Miles number. So when I book my flight, I am getting my points. So if you are a loyalty member for airlines or a loyalty member for renting a car, a loyalty member for hotels, make sure that you document what you are a loyalty member for so you are adding up your points and getting your benefits, okay? So these are all of the categories: home, money accounts, insurance, and service providers. I hope that this is helpful for you. I really want you to take this seriously because you do deserve to be able to have access to the best things in life. You do deserve to be able to manage responsibly the things that you have been blessed with. And so I want you to document it in a way that you're not forgetting where your money is, or you're not booking your doctor's appointments, or you're feeling like you got to do your nails yourself because you can't find the number to the person who did your nails last time, or whatever it is. So you can create this on your own, or if you want to grab my exact template for just $17, go to mayaelious.com/adulting and I will send it right to you. But let me know in the comments what resonated with you from today's episode and what is the next thing that you are going to do. I'm so excited to see how this has helped you. And until next time, keep working hard so you can live soft. And please make sure that you're actually living soft. I'll see you next time.